plague killed Pericles, and with him, Athens' steady hand. Perhaps Pericles was fortunate in a way. He died at the height of his fame, before he could suffer the inevitable downfall of great men in Athens. But enough of Athens. Let me tell you of the Peloponnese, homeland of the Spartans, where jagged mountains loom over plains riven by earthquakes. All along its rugged coastline came Athenian raiders. Triremes drove their bronze-clad prows onto Peloponnesian shores, vengeful hoplites swarming out like hornets. For the most part, the Spartans were unsuited to deal with these raids. They've always been a slow, ponderous people. The dashing general Brasidas, however, was no typical Spartan. Energetic, gregarious, eloquent, sharp in thought and quick in action. When Athenian raiders came to Methone, the town cried out for just such a savior. If only Brasidas could make it in time.
Methone is surrounded. Athenians everywhere you look. And the defenders are wavering.
Very well. Here is what we shall do. We shall rush through the siege lines, break into the city, and take charge of the defense ourselves. The Athenians will never expect it. Methone, fear no longer. I am Brasidas, son of Tellus, and the victory I win here will be immortalized by poets and rhapsodes. Spartans, to arms! The Athenians are on the attack! Trying to undermine the walls. Take out their sappers.
Scurry back to your camp, Rads. Athenians won't expect us in the dark. Slip into their camp and ruin them, I say.
I see little honor in such methods. Though I suppose godlike Diomedes did strike the Trojans by night.
Helots can't get through the Athenian siege works to supply the city. If they will not come to us, we must go to them.
Rank cowardice. Slaves should fear their masters more than any enemy. They're on the march again. More bleating goats to the slaughter!
Breach the wall!
Hurry back to your camp, Rads. The moon is shrouded tonight. Make ready to raid. Ox-ridden weasels! Let us see how you fare without your clever machines.
Get these supplies back to the city. Hear those disordered footsteps, men. The Athenians are on the march. The fort is under attack.
I shall bleed these Athenians like sacrificial pigs. Scurry back to your camp, Rads. Night falls. Time to hunt.
Take these goods back to Methone. Get these supplies back to the city. Upon my freshly scarred body, I share your pains, men.
I have recovered. Now, vengeance.
Crafty engineers couldn't stop their own workshop collapsing on their heads. Hear those disordered footsteps, men. The Athenians are on the march. Trying to undermine the walls. Take out their sappers.
You won't keep me out of the fight for long.
The wall is breached. Don't let them through. These injuries will not detain me long. Defend the fort at all costs. Your siege engineers lie dead, Athenians, crushed beneath their own wicked inventions. It's the Athenians. Shields up! The Athenians are at the fort. Siege is broken! Send word of our triumph to Sparta, and ready 7 black bulls to sacrifice in thanks.
The Spartans hailed Brasidas as a hero. In the early days of the war, when their futile occupation of Attica dragged on and the expected victory never came, Brasidas was a rare figure of inspiration, the protector of Spartan honor against vicious Athenian pirates. But the Athenian raids endangered more than Sparta's honor. Turmoil in the Peloponnese threatened the very foundations of Spartan society. Centuries earlier, you see, the Spartans had marched across the mountains into Messenia, conquered its entire people, and forced them into perpetual serfdom. Hereafter, the Messenians were called Helots, and toiled year-round for their Spartan masters. The Spartans were utterly dependent on these Helots, as dependent as they were fearful, for they knew that given the slightest chance, the Helots would gladly eat their masters alive. Like a field of dry heather, the Peloponnese would need only a tiny spark to burst into flames. And the Athenian raiders knew it. Brasidas donned his helmet, its horsehair crest swaying in the salty breeze, and marched down to the coast.
Athenian triremes prowl the coast like ravening sharks. It is our sacred duty to defend the Peloponnese and all who need our help.
The signal fires are lit. We must go now.
Push! To arms, men!
Helots. The scum get the slightest sniff of instability and they forget their place.
Cool your tongue, Lysander. Treat the Helots well and they will respond in kind. And is it not true that your own mother was a Helot?
We made it in time. Now, ready your spears. Say your prayers to the olive-wreathed Dioscuri and throw these Athenians back into the sea! Orders this time, but no doubt they will return soon.
These old Messenian tombs are stuffed with treasure. They ought to have been seized long ago.
I see the signal fire. To the coast! Xenios, witness the justice we deal to these ill-mannered guests.
We'd be better off letting the lions cull the Helot herd.
Athenian agents are trying to incite the Helots. We must evict them from the villages before the uprisings grow.
Done.
Tell any who consider rebellion, I am Brasidas, a friend to all who serve Sparta well, and an unrelenting spirit of vengeance to her enemies. Another settlement calls for help. Perseus blesses this bloody work.
Say you're a friend to the Helots, Brasidas. I tell you what, slay the mountain lions that ravage our villages, and I'll forge you a fine new helmet. You're a true hero, Brasidas. Describe to me the helmet you desire.
Decorate the helmet with lions, that my infantry might be inspired by the memory of brave Leonidas. Kyrete, Helots, if any among you are of fighting age and suitable physique, follow me. The best fighters will receive their freedom.
Thieving, dog-faced pirates! They strip the storehouse bare.
Another town signals for aid. Your loyalty will not go unrewarded, Helots. You see, Lysander, treat the Helots mildly, and they shall render good service. Stop these marauders this time,
They just disappeared.
but no doubt they will return soon.
Another Helot village swarms with Athenian agitators. How quickly the Helots turn to revolt. We have been too soft on them.
Another settlement calls for help. Once more you leave with nothing, Athenians. Wherever you strike, I will find you. I would climb Mount Parnon, ford the Eurotas, swim to Cythera to bring you to justice. Signal fires. The Athenians return.
Another village incubates rebellion. The Helots will run overdue a cull.
One last push, men. Though they are many, stand strong. For we are Spartans, and we ask not how numerous the enemy are, but where to find them. Ah, mighty Spartans! Each of you fought like Menelaus himself. Just as that Spartan king of old brought pitch-black death upon his enemies, so you have vanquished the Athenians.
The Spartans fought off raid after raid, but they knew that the black-bellied ships would keep coming, unless they could force the Athenians to direct their attention elsewhere. An opportunity soon presented itself, courtesy of a suggestion from the wily Macedonian king, Perdiccas. He brought word that many of Athens' allies in the far north were wavering in their commitment. Ripe fruit, perhaps, to be plucked from the enemy alliance. Quite the trek for most Spartans, who spend as little time away from their homeland as possible. But Brasidas was not like most Spartans. He gathered an army, its strength bolstered by thousands of helots, to whom he promised freedom in exchange for brave service. Northwards they marched, the red-cloaked Spartans at their head, ready to plunge their spears into the Athenian Empire's naked flank.
Canthus is up ahead, ripe for the slaughter.
Sheathe your sword, Lysander. Let me show you what can be achieved through persuasion.
Cantians, we come here not to conquer, but to liberate. Under the Athenians, you are subjects. With us, you would be allies. So accept this gift of freedom, or I shall have no choice but to devastate these fine vineyards.
You speak well for a Spartan. We accept your offer.
You see, Lysander? Fine speech can be worth 100 swords. Now, on to our true prize. Amphipolis.
I did not train with the spear from birth to settle my disputes with words.
You might want to hurry to Amphipolis, Spartans. The Athenian general Thucydides is on his way.
It's the Athenians. Shields up! I offer you fair terms for surrender, Amphipolitans. Anyone who wishes to leave can do so safely. Any who wish to stay will have their property respected. Whatever else happens, Amphipolis cannot fall back into Athenian hands.
I know of men we might hire, men without scruples, who can plunder a hamlet or strip a corpse in the blink of an eye. Let me loose with them, Brasidas. Leave the speeches for the Athenians. Only force will win us victory.
Work, Brasidas, truly. You have no greater admirer than me. And how I yearn to join you. Well, my coffers are running a little low.
I am not in the habit of buying my friends, Perdiccas. I expect every obol to be put toward the war effort.
People of Dium, though you speak with two tongues, and some call you barbarians, you shall have a cherished friend in Sparta, if you submit willingly.
Your generous words move us. We open our gates to you.
You've been a busy little bee, haven't you, Spartan? That miserable laggard Thucydides couldn't make it in time to stop you. But now you've got me to contend with. I hear it was the Corinthians who provoked you into this war. Now you run around recapturing their colonies for them. Who really runs the Peloponnesian League, I wonder?
Ignore this fool for now. Let us seize the rest of the cities, through persuasion if we can, or force if we must.
Come up here and fight. We'll see who loses their footing first.
Tales are told of the heroes who founded Scione, blown off course returning from Troy. Honor your ancestors. Throw off the muling Athenians and make a pact with the warriors of Sparta.
We have heard much about you, Brasidas. and consider you an honorable man. How do you hope to win this war, Spartan? Your hoplites ravaged our fields, plague ravaged our city, and still we stand.
I had rather hoped you Spartans would simply kick the Athenians out, not become masters of the Chalcidice yourselves. Now I see you, true.
People of Torone, I stand before your temple to the Dioscuri, the twin gods, revered here as they are at Sparta. Do you not see? We are natural allies.
Aye. And by the twin gods, we pledge ourselves to Sparta.
From the shadow of Mount Athos to the borders of rocky Thrace, we have freed this land from the Athenians.
This Spartan general fancies himself an orator. I would murder you in the assembly, as I shall slaughter you here. Enough of these games. Fight me, Brasidas, man to man. Let me tear out that clever tongue.
Remember this, men. We have but one life before we shuffle through Hades as empty-minded shades. So seize the glory I offer you now. A chance for deeds so great that poets will never cease to sing of them. Come! Make yourselves immortal!
Victory! By the twin gods, Brasidas! You're bleeding like a stuck pig.
Listen to me, Lysander. You must be Sparta's hero now. And remember, a victory without honor is no victory at all.
Brasidas lived just long enough to hear that he was victorious. This, for the Greeks, is the perfect way to die, expiring at the very height of one's glory. Some say that there was something in Brasidas that sought death, that yearned for it. Not for him a quiet senescence tending his vines. He would die with Ares watching. The Greeks are always at war with each other, but they usually resolve things quickly. They find a suitable plain, line up opposite each other, and settle their disagreement in a single brutal clash. But this new, interminable kind of war was exhausting. And with the deaths of Brasidas and Cleon, both Sparta and Athens had lost their most energetic leaders. So they took to diplomacy and signed a peace treaty that was to last for 50 years. They were fighting again within a decade. And the Athenians, always quick to make terrible decisions, resolved that the surest path to victory was to open up an entirely unnecessary new front in Sicily, of all places. The Athenians tried to enclose the Sicilian capital of Syracuse within a vast stone wall. To stop this, the Syracusans tried to intercept them with a counterwall of their own. This is about the height of Greek siegecraft, I'm afraid. After months of this walling and counter-walling, the Syracusans' resolve began to waver. But just in time, reinforcements arrived from Sparta.
Good to have you with us, Lysander. Here's the situation. The Athenians mean to enclose the city with a wall. So, the Syracusans are going to build a counter-wall of their own, straight upwards, and intercept the Athenians. It's up to us to protect them and ensure that the Athenians don't progress too fast. Is it true, Lysander, that you wear the armor of Brasidas, specially forged for him by all the grateful people he aided?
He hardly has use for it anymore.
The Athenians attack the wall! Protect the wall!
It's about time we got our hands on some proper war horses. Nice of the Athenians to bring them for us.
Stop those Athenians!
Protect the wall!
Stop those Athenians! The Athenians are built past us! Spartan cavalry. What a wonderful novelty! Tell us, Lysander, what did you learn from the great and noble Brasidas?
I learned that a glorious death is easily acquired. Victory is the harder thing.
Oh, yes, they're attacking the wall! We are very much alike, you and I. Both Mothocaes, born to Helot mothers, who worked our way up.
We are nothing alike. And no man I killed ever asked for my lineage.
They need to bring down the wall! If you want to build any further, you'll have to get rid of that Athenian fort. Terribly crafty of them to put it there, eh?
Ne?
Oh, yes, they're attacking the wall! How do these vipers build their walls so quickly?
The fort is smoking rubble. Builders, get on with the wall!
Fine progress, fine progress. I would come out and help you, but I feel rather gouty today. These Sicilian sausages, I think I sense that we could become great friends, you and I, and accomplish wonderful things for Sparta. Enrich ourselves in the process.
I have no need of friends. I would rather more enemies. There, we have stopped the Athenians' pathetic plan. Now, time for us to go on the offensive. Athenians have no control of their appetites. Destroy their storehouses and supply ships, and watch them starve.
You may be an expert in violence, Lysander, but morale is also important in war. Retake the Olympiaon, and the men will be inspired.
Stack the bodies of these lumberjacks like firewood. Torch the lumber, and the bodies with them. The Athenians think themselves invulnerable at sea. Shatter their oars and their pride. These lumberjacks cut their own pyre. Torch the lumber. No wood, no ships.
The Olympiaon is ours. Give the Syracusans what they need to fortify the place. Oh, terrific work! I'm sick of the sight of that fort.
Raise this fort. Leave the corpses to the rats. This fort is rubble. Its defenders shades.
Thank the twin gods you're a better warrior than you are a conversationalist, Lysander. Glorious victory. Not bad for a pair of Mothocaes, eh?
There is nothing to celebrate until Athens is destroyed. And I see now how to do it. We require a fleet.
The Sicilian expedition was planned hastily, executed incompetently, and concluded horrifically. The Athenians were chased from Syracuse all the way to the river Asinarus, where they were speared like writhing tuna in the blood-churned water. This defeat should have spelled the end of the Athenian Empire. But like the many-headed Hydra, Athens recovered from every wound. For as long as they could hide behind their walls, supplied from the sea, the Athenians would never surrender. Lysander knew this. When Sparta made him admiral, admiral of a fleet that didn't yet exist, well, it seemed like the latest insult in a lifetime of derision. But Lysander was determined. He knew that Sparta needed a navy, and that required money. Real money. Not the iron spits that the austere Spartans used as currency. So Lysander sailed to Ionia to meet with the young Persian prince, Cyrus. He struck a deal with the old enemy. Persian gold for a Spartan fleet, and the troublesome Athenian navy reduced to splinters.
I shall send you as much gold as I can, Lysander. The rest you may gather from plundering Athens' allies. Just make sure to keep the shipwrights at Ephesus well supplied.
I am ready to rampage through Ionia. We shall have to be swift and ready to strike the Athenian navy while they are still unprepared. Open up your stores, little mice. None will call me Mothax when I take Athens. None will call me second to Brasidas. To work shipwrights. Any slackers will answer to me. Gather as much as you can, or we have fatter prey to hunt.
You seem to be a man who appreciates a challenge, Lysander. I dare say my father's court could benefit from a few more like you.
Plunder swiftly, just like I taught you. There are more towns to ravage. I will have my name remembered. Lysander, victor of the Athenian war, Lord Admiral of Sparta. Ransack the stores and slit the rich citizens' purses. Don't trip over the corpses when you leave with the loot. Relish the slaughter, men, but keep your eyes fixed on Miletus. Its capture will break Athenian power in Ionia. Leave the dead where they lie, and grab the loot to work shipwrights. Any slackers will answer to me. Fill our coffers with the dead men's riches. Even were I to deliver the scepter of Zeus himself to Sparta, those whispering rats in the Gerousia would still despise me. Finish your looting quickly. We have more cities to burn. Empty the stores, strip the corpses, and make ready to move. All I hear about is Brasidas. Noble Brasidas, heroic Brasidas loved by all. His nobility bought him nothing but an early death.
You know, this whole land once lived peacefully under Persian rule. Until the Athenians.
I want every ship thoroughly inspected before we sail.
My men have wrestled with painted Gauls, tamed the wild Scythians, speared snarling Indian elephants, and you can have us for about a handful of silver. You're a man who knows exactly what he wants, eh?
This war's been rough for Spartan manpower, I hear. Give us some of that gold, and we'll plug the holes in your battle line.
I expect you to keep pace with my men, and watch your flank. Miletus is racked with infighting. The pro-Athenian Democrats rule. But if we give aid to the oligarchic faction, they can help us take the city. Stuff as much as you can into your packs, and prepare to move out. Take these resources and build me my navy. Put this towards the fleet. We have purged Ionia, and now we shall cleanse the seas. Ready the fleet! I shall not detain you with speeches, sailors. Swoop down upon the unsuspecting Athenians, shatter their hulls like cheap amphorae, and leave a feast for the sharks. Fiery-eyed Phobos, hear me! Run among my foes, spread deadly fear, and I shall slit the throats of 10 fat goats for you. Who will feed you behind your long walls now, Athenians? By Ares, I can almost taste my victory.
Like a razor-beaked hawk, swooping down on a crowd of startled jackdaws, Lysander shattered the unsuspecting Athenian fleet. At long last, the navy that shielded Athens from the horrors of siege was vanquished. Lysander bore down on Athens, determined to have his victory, but not before driving every Athenian garrison out of Asia Minor, so that their city would be packed with hungry mouths. No fleet, no hesitancy, no law, human or divine, stood between Lysander and the triumph he sought.
You have done well to bring us this far, Lysander, but there is still much to do. First, seize a base, so that I can bring in the rest of our soldiers.
Then onto Athens. We shall surround the city and starve its citizens into submission.
I have heard about your appetite for death, Lysander. I expect you to conduct yourself honorably, as befits an officer of Sparta.
My spies tell me that the Athenians are trying to rebuild their fleet. Do not let them undo your good work.
Proceeding straight to Athens may not be the wisest course. There are many other places which we might try to seize beforehand.
My spies report feverish activity in the Athenian dockyards. Crush their navy before they retake the seas. As a reward for taking those cities for me, I have sent you some more gold. Ensure that it reaches your base safely. We both know the Athenians are skilled in theft.
Defend my men as we set up our base, Lysander.
The Persian gold is secure.
A suitable base. I shall seek the blessings of Demeter, then proceed to besieging Athens. I expect your assistance, Lysander.
The hold grows tighter. Soon I will choke the life from Athena's city. This trireme is all that is left of the proud merchant princes of Aegina. Old Persian graves litter this island. The Athenians may have proved a match for the Mede, but not for us.
Your temperament troubles me, Lysander. You ought to know that the gods cannot abide excess. Excess of glory, excess of spirit, excess of cruelty.
Perhaps I'm more beloved of the gods than you think, Aegis. They have not ceased to deliver me victories. No more Athenian ships will into the Pyres. No more silver, no more wine, no more grain. No more suckling the fruits of empire. Now you will taste bitter sorrow. Salamis was the Athenians' last refuge against the Mede. Now they lack even this shelter. Here they come, with the wild-eyed ferocity of desperate men. Plant your feet, and do not let them push you back! Oh, how I have longed to see the Acropolis spattered with blood. The Acropolis is mine! Bow, Athenians! Bow before your conqueror!
You would do well to remember that this victory belongs to Sparta, not to you alone.
No, this is my victory. I destroyed their fleet. I starved their city. They came begging for mercy to me, and I will have the glory that is owed me. I will have my name remembered! We have
Proud Athens, which had once gorged itself on the fruits of its empire, now starved. Sallow-faced and trembling, the Athenians begged Lysander to lift his siege. To make sure that Athens would always remain at his mercy, Lysander tore down the long walls to the mocking music of flute girls. Lysander finally had his victory. and he made sure it was never forgotten. At Delphi, the center of the Greek world, he had himself sculpted in bronze. But, as you must have learnt by now, great men rarely meet great ends. And before long, Lysander was dead, his legacy scorned by the kings he served, his memory blackened with accusations of arrogance, violence, and greed. You might think that after spending nearly 3 decades at war, the Greeks would settle down, at least for a little while. Alas, they were at each other's throats again soon enough. Endless configurations of cities in alliances and leagues and empires, fighting for gold or territory or honor, or sometimes for no good reason at all. No, the Greeks would never stand together by choice, only by necessity or compulsion. And indeed, the day would soon come when unity would be forced upon them by a man whose cunning eclipsed Themistocles, whose swiftness was greater than Brasidas, whose ruthlessness was beyond even Lysander, and whose ambitions were a match for any king who ever lived. But I grow weary now. Return on the morrow, and I shall continue our tale.